You might think a damaged or old Canadian 5-cent coin is worthless, but what if I told you that some bad condition 5-cent Canada coins are actually worth millions of dollars today? Fearful face. In this video, we reveal 4 rare and valuable Canadian 5-cent coins that shocked collectors around the world. Before you ignore or throw away an old nickel, watch this till the end, because one small mistake on a coin can change your life forever. First up, the beaver nickel 5-cent Canada 1979 Queen Elizabeth II, is a classic and historically meaningful Canadian circulation coin that represents decades of national identity, economic policy, and artistic continuity, and although many collectors informally write or say, KG Elizabeth, it is important to clarify that KG King George does not apply to this coin, because the 1979 issue officially bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who reigned as Canada's monarch at the time, and her effigy on this coin symbolizes stability and constitutional continuity within the Commonwealth. This coin was produced by the Royal Canadian Mint during a period when Canada had fully transitioned away from precious metal coinage for low denominations, and as a result, the 1979 beaver nickel was struck in 99.9% pure nickel, giving it a strong metallic sound, excellent durability, and mild magnetic properties, with standard specifications of approximately 4.54 grams in weight, 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and a plain edge, making it consistent with other Canadian 5-cent coins of the late 20th century. The obverse design features the famous Arnold Machen portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, wearing a tiara, with clean and dignified lines that emphasize realism rather than heavy ornamentation, and it is surrounded by the Latin legend, Elizabeth II DG Regina, meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, a phrase deeply rooted in centuries of royal tradition, while the reverse proudly displays the iconic beaver, designed by G. E. Kruger Gray, an animal chosen not merely for decoration but because of its deep historical connection to Canada's early economy, particularly the fur trade, which played a critical role in shaping the nation's exploration, settlement, and commercial expansion. The beaver on the 1979 coin is shown resting on a log in water, conveying strength, patience, and industriousness, qualities often associated with Canadian national character. And above and below the beaver are the inscriptions, 5 cents, Canada, and the date, 1979, all struck in clear, balanced topography that enhances the coin's visual harmony. In terms of mintage, the 1979 beaver nickel was produced in very large numbers, with tens of millions released into circulation, meaning it is generally considered common in circulated condition, and most examples found today show varying degrees of wear, such as smoothing of the beaver's fur, loss of sharpness in the log and water lines, contact marks, and surface scratches caused by decades of everyday use. Despite this, the coin holds strong appeal among collectors, especially beginners, because it is affordable, historically rich, and visually iconic, and higher-grade examples, particularly uncirculated BU coins with full luster and sharp detail, are more desirable and command modest premiums, while proof-like PL or specimen strikes included in official Canadian mint sets are especially valued for their superior strike quality and reflective surfaces. Rare varieties from 1979, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, die cracks, or weak strikes, are scarce but highly collectible and can significantly increase a coin's market value, making careful inspection important for serious numismatists. Historically, the 1979 beaver nickel reflects a time when Canada was navigating economic challenges such as inflation and global market changes, yet still maintained a strong sense of national symbolism in its coinage, choosing to preserve the beaver design rather than replace it with a modern motif, which speaks to the enduring power of tradition in Canadian culture. Today, the Canada 5-cent beaver nickel 1979 Queen Elizabeth II is more than just a small denomination coin. It is a tangible piece of Canadian history, a symbol of royal heritage and national identity, and an excellent subject for long-form educational content, YouTube videos, and long-duration storytelling about coins, making it a fascinating and engaging topic for collectors, historians, and viewers interested in the deep stories hidden within everyday money. Next up, the Beaver Nickel 5-cent Canada 1970, Queen Elizabeth II, is a fascinating and historically meaningful Canadian coin that continues to attract strong interest from collectors and coin history enthusiasts, especially when discussed in bad or heavily circulated condition, and although many people casually or incorrectly refer to it as KG Elizabeth, it is very important to clarify that KG means King George, which does not apply to this coin at all, because the 1970 Canadian 5-cent coin officially features Queen Elizabeth II, who was the reigning monarch of Canada at that time, and her portrait symbolizes Canada's constitutional monarchy, political stability, and continued connection to the British Crown during the modern era. This coin was struck by the Royal Canadian Mint during a period when Canada had already fully moved away from silver coinage for low denominations and adopted 99.9% pure nickel, making the 1970 Beaver nickel solid, durable, slightly magnetic, and noticeably heavier than later steel-based coins, with standard specifications including a weight of approximately 4.54 grams, a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, and a plain edge, features that remained consistent across Canadian 5-cent coins throughout the 1960s and 1970s. The obverse side displays the famous Arnold Machen portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right and wearing a tiara, rendered in a clean, realistic style that emphasizes dignity and simplicity rather than excessive ornamentation, and it is surrounded by the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Regina, which translates to, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, a traditional royal title used for centuries to assert legitimate authority, while the reverse features the iconic beaver, designed by G. E. Kruger Gray, an animal deeply connected to Canadian history because of its central role in the fur trade, which helped shape Canada's early economy, exploration routes, and settlement patterns. The beaver is shown resting on a log in water, symbolizing patience, strength, and hard work, qualities strongly associated with the Canadian national character, and the reverse also carries the inscriptions, 5 cents, Canada, and the date, 1970, arranged in a balanced and easily recognizable layout. In terms of production, the 1970 Canadian 5-cent coin was minted in very large numbers, meaning it is generally considered common, especially in circulated and bad condition, and most surviving examples today show heavy wear such as flattened details on the beaver's fur, loss of definition in the log and water lines, weak lettering, rim dents, scratches, dark toning, oxidation spots, and overall dull surfaces caused by decades of everyday use in pockets, cash registers, and bags. Despite its common status, the coin remains very popular among collectors because it represents a classic era of Canadian coinage when designs were stable, metals were strong, and coins were made to last, and even bad condition examples are often kept for educational purposes, bulk collections, and beginner sets, while uncirculated BU examples with full mint luster and sharp details command a higher premium, and proof like PL or specimen coins from official mint sets are especially desirable due to their superior finish and clarity. Era varieties from 1970, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, die cracks, weak strikes, or lamination errors, are rare but highly sought after and can dramatically increase a coin's value even if the overall condition is poor, making the 1970 Beaver nickel an exciting coin to examine closely. Historically, this coin reflects Canada during a time of economic growth mixed with inflation concerns, growing national identity, and increasing independence in cultural expression, yet the decision to retain the beaver design shows how deeply tradition was valued, and today the Beaver Nickel 5-cent Canada 1970 Queen Elizabeth II stands as more than just a small denomination coin. It is a tangible piece of Canadian heritage, a symbol of royal continuity and national pride, and an excellent subject for very long educational discussions, storytelling, and YouTube videos focused on rare coins, coin errors, and the hidden value found even in old, worn, and badly circulated money. Next up, the Beaver Nickel 5-cent Canada 1974, Queen Elizabeth II, is a highly recognizable and historically important Canadian circulation coin that continues to attract strong interest from collectors, researchers, and coin history storytellers, especially when examined in bad or heavily circulated condition. And although many people casually or incorrectly write KG Elizabeth, it must be clearly explained that KG stands for King George, which does not apply to this coin at all, because the 1974 Canadian 5-cent piece officially bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who was the reigning monarch of Canada at that time, and her image on the coin represents constitutional monarchy, political continuity, and Canada's place within the Commonwealth during the mid-1970s. This coin was struck by the Royal Canadian Mint at a time when Canadian coinage had fully moved away from silver for lower denominations and relied on 99.9% pure nickel, giving the 1974 Beaver nickel its solid feel, durability, slightly magnetic nature, and long circulation life, with standard technical specifications that include a weight of approximately 4.54 grams, a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters, and a plain edge, all of which were consistent across Canadian 5-cent coins of that era. The obverse design features the famous Arnold Machen effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right and wearing a tiara, presented in a clean, realistic, and modern style that emphasizes dignity and stability rather than heavy decoration, and it is surrounded by the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Regina, meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, a traditional royal title that has appeared on coins for centuries and reflects the historical authority of the crown, while the reverse side proudly displays the iconic beaver, designed by G. E. Kruger Gray, an animal chosen as a national symbol because of its enormous importance in Canada's early history, particularly during the fur trade era when beaver pelts were central to economic development, exploration, and settlement across vast regions of the country. The beaver is shown resting on a log in water, a calm yet powerful image that symbolizes hard work, patience, resilience, and determination, qualities often associated with the Canadian national character, and the reverse also carries the inscriptions, 5 cents, Canada, and the date, 1974, arranged in a balanced and easily readable layout. In terms of mintage, the 1974 Canadian 5-cent coin was produced in very large quantities, meaning it is generally considered common, particularly in circulated and bad condition, and most surviving examples today show heavy wear such as flattened or nearly smooth details on the beaver's fur, weak or partially faded lettering, loss of definition in the log and water lines, rim dents, deep scratches, dark toning, oxidation spots, and overall dull or dirty surfaces caused by decades of everyday use in pockets, purses, tills, and coin rolls. Despite being common, the coin remains popular and educationally valuable because it represents a stable design era in Canadian coinage, and even bad condition examples are often kept by collectors for reference, bulk hoards, and beginner collections, while uncirculated BU examples with full luster and sharp details are far more desirable and command higher premiums, and proof like PL or specimen strikes from official Canadian mint sets are especially sought after for their mirror-like fields and superior strike quality. Error coins from 1974, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, die cracks, lamination errors, weak strikes, or double-struck pieces, are scarce but extremely interesting, and even a badly worn coin can become valuable if it shows a genuine mint error, making close inspection important for collectors and YouTube content creators alike. Historically, the 1974 Beaver nickel reflects Canada during a decade marked by inflation, global economic uncertainty, and growing national self-confidence, yet the continued use of the beaver design shows how deeply tradition and national symbolism were respected, and today the beaver nickel 5-cent Canada 1974 Queen Elizabeth II stands as more than just a small value coin. It is a durable survivor of everyday commerce, a symbol of royal continuity and Canadian identity, and a perfect subject for very long, highly engaging educational discussions, storytelling videos, and deep dive content about how even old, worn, and badly circulated coins can carry powerful history and hidden fascination. Next up, the beaver nickel 5-cent Canada 1976 Queen Elizabeth II is an iconic and historically rich Canadian circulation coin that holds lasting fascination for collectors, historians, and storytelling-focused YouTube creators, particularly when examined in bad or heavily circulated condition, and while many people casually or mistakenly refer to it as KG Elizabeth, it is very important to clearly state that KG stands for King George, which does not apply to this coin, because the 1976 Canadian 5-cent piece officially features Queen Elizabeth II, who was the reigning monarch of Canada during this period, and her portrait represents constitutional continuity, political stability, and Canada's ongoing connection to the British Crown within the Commonwealth. This coin was struck by the Royal Canadian Mint at a time when Canadian 5-cent coins were still made from 99.9% pure nickel, a metal choice that gave the coin its solid weight, durability, slightly magnetic nature, and long service life in everyday commerce, with standard technical specifications including a weight of approximately 4.54 grams, a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters, and a plain edge, specifications that remained consistent for Canadian nickels throughout the 1970s. The obverse side features the well-known Arnold Machen effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right and wearing a tiara, designed in a clean, realistic, and modern style that emphasizes dignity and calm authority rather than heavy ornamentation, and it is encircled by the Latin inscription, Elizabeth II DG Regina, meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, a traditional royal legend rooted in centuries of monarchic coinage, while the reverse proudly displays the timeless beaver, designed by G. E. Kruger Gray, an animal deeply tied to Canada's national identity because of its central role in the fur trade that shaped the country's early economy, exploration routes, and settlement history. The beaver is shown resting on a log in water, a pose that conveys patience, resilience, and industriousness, qualities often associated with Canadian character, and the reverse also includes the inscriptions, 5 cents, Canada, and the date, 1976, arranged in a balanced and familiar layout. In terms of mintage, the 1976 Canadian 5-cent coin was produced in very large quantities, making it common, especially in circulated and bad condition, and most examples surviving today show heavy wear such as flattened or almost smooth details on the beaver's fur, weakened lettering, loss of definition in the log and water lines, rim dents, deep scratches, dark or uneven toning, oxidation spots, and overall dull, tired surfaces resulting from decades of use in pockets, purses, vending machines, and cash registers. Despite being common, the coin remains extremely popular and educationally valuable because it represents the final decades of the classic solid nickel era before later changes in metal composition, and even bad condition coins are frequently kept for bulk collections, teaching purposes, and beginner sets, while uncirculated BU examples with full luster and sharp detail command significantly higher premiums, and proof like PL or specimen strikes issued in official Canadian mint sets are especially prized for their mirror-like fields, strong strikes, and superior visual appeal. Error coins dated 1976, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, lamination flaws, die cracks, weak strikes, or double-struck pieces, are rare but highly collectible, and even a heavily worn coin can become valuable if it shows a genuine mint error. making careful inspection essential for collectors and content creators. Historically, the 1976 beaver nickel reflects Canada during a period of cultural confidence and international attention, highlighted by events such as the Montreal Olympics. Yet the continued use of the traditional beaver design demonstrates how deeply national symbols were respected despite modern changes, and today the beaver nickel 5-cent Canada 1976 Queen Elizabeth II stands as far more than a small value coin. It is a durable survivor of everyday life, a symbol of royal continuity and Canadian heritage, and a perfect subject for very long, highly engaging discussions and storytelling content about how even old, worn, and badly circulated coins can carry powerful history, national meaning, and lasting fascination. Next up,